everyone. A few of you have asked me to make my bread recipe for you, so today that's what we're going to do. And it's kind of a stop and go process. So in a bowl, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of yeast. And I just keep my yeast in the freezer in a jar, and that keeps it fresh. And the yeast always wants to have something to eat, and it likes to eat sugar, so I'm just going to put a little bit of sugar in. That's probably about 2 tablespoons. I'm also going to add in a cup of our flour that we're going to incorporate later into the bread. And also 2 cups of tepid, warm water. You don't want it to be hot, you just want it to be warm so it does not kill the yeast bacteria culture. So just add that in. You take a spoon, and you don't really need to mix it too much, but just get it lightly blended. Get all the flour moistened. And we're going to let this sit for about 10 minutes. It's going to get warm and bubbly, and then we'll get ready to add our other ingredients. And until later. So as you can see, it has really gotten big and foamy. And so this is how we know that our yeast is good and that it's going to rise and make perfect bread. So I have 3.5 cups of flour left, and we're just going to incorporate that all at one time. So that's 4.5 cups of flour all together. And you want it to be seasoned, so I'm going to add in a tablespoon of salt. And we'll just mix this up. And you want to mix it until it pulls from the side of the bowl. And just incorporate it. And what you can do at this point, if you like, you can add different seasonings and herbs if you like. You can add thyme, you can add cheese, rosemary, garlic, roasted garlic cloves, anything. So if you're wanting to have like a flavored bread, you can do that. And I'm going to show you later just how versatile this bread recipe is. You can make so many different things with this bread. We're going to make a pizza crust, we're going to make a cinnamon bread, and we're going to make like a rustic peasant style bread. So you just want to keep mixing. And if it's not incorporating, you can add just a little bit of water to the dough. So we're going to get this all incorporated. And then what you want to do is you can pour a little oil over this if you like. Cover it, put it in a warm place. We're going to let it rise for about 45 minutes. It's going to be doubled in size. What we're going to do then is we're going to punch it down, and then we're going to let it rise again before we form it into loaves. So there you have it. So this is how you mix it up. You can see it's kind of really pulled away from the sides of the bowl. So I'm going to get it covered and set it back here on the stove where I have some soup going, and that's going to create a little warmth, and it'll rise and be perfect. So I'll see you. Okay, so we're back. I've let my bread rise one time and punched it down. And then now I have it at its second rise. So we're going to go ahead and turn it out. I'm going to divide it in half and make 2 different kinds of bread for you. So you want to flour your counter with a little bit of what we call bench flour. So just lightly kind of sprinkle that out. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. And kind of smear it around. It makes a mess, so you're going to have a little cleanup later. And you just simply turn it out onto your board, and you don't really need to knead it a whole lot. If you kind of very lightly handle it, it'll stay nice and fluffy. If you knead it a lot, then the gluten is going to build up, and then it's going to get very stretchy. So I personally like my loaf to be nice and fluffy. So I'm going to cut this in half, and for the first loaf, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of make a rustic style Italian or peasant bread. So set that one aside. I'm going to put all the ends underneath, kind of form it. I'm going to put it into a little bit of a punch shape, is what we call this, and put it on my pan. I'm also going to cut into the top of the loaf there it is, so you can see, cut into the top of the loaf, little marks, so this gives it a place to rise. If you don't cut the little nips in, it will kind of blow out at the bottom. So that's one. I'm going to put a little egg wash on this, so when it comes out of the oven, it will be nice and shiny. We're going to let this sit on the back of the stove as I have the stove heating up. It's going to rise till it's doubled, and then we're going to bake it at 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead and put this one back on the stove. Now, the second one I'm going to make is a pizza. So I have my dough here. We're going to give it just a little bit of a knead. I'm going to spread on my pan some olive oil. And if you add a half a cup of olive oil to this recipe when you first start it, you can make focaccia. And I'm just simply going to spread this out just like a pizza. I'm going to flip it over so it gets all that nice olive oil all over, and this is just kind of like a free form pizza. There you go. And it will spread and fill the pan. And now what we're going to do is we're going to top it with our favorite pizza toppings. I made a Tuscan style marinara. This is my friend Zen Bauer's recipe. It is my all-time favorite. I will put the recipe for the marinara sauce in the comments. It has become my go-to red sauce for everything. Whether I'm making chicken parmesan, pizza, pasta, Italian style casseroles. So today I'm going to make a vegetable style pizza. I have some fresh goat cheese that I'm going to spread down, crumbled goat cheese. Love the flavor of goat cheese. Some fresh shredded mozzarella. Just mix that in on the top. I also have taken the very tenderest of the rosemary sprigs. I'm just going to pepper that on the top. So these are just the new growth, that it's not really very hard and woody. It's going to give our pizza a nice flavor. And just spread it with your favorite toppings. I have red pepper, tomato, fresh asparagus, spinach. This is going to be such a great tasting pizza. And white onion. So this actually doesn't need to rise that much, not like the bread. You just want to let it get to where it's just a little bit poofy, and then we're going to bake it in the oven until it's nice and golden brown and bubbling in the center, just like any other pizza. And we'll go ahead and finish that. So then once this comes out of the oven, we're going to have a bite. Now I went ahead and made a third batter because my friend Diana is going to her cousin's for Christmas today, and I thought it would be nice if she could take some homemade cinnamon bread. This is kind of like a cinnamon swirl, and it's the exact same recipe as the other bread that we used. I simply added 1 whole egg and 2 egg yolks. So we're going to go ahead and put this on our counter and just knead it a little bit. We don't need to do a lot. This is actually kind of big for the pan that I'm going to put it in, so I am going to cut it in half. I did also add a little extra sugar to this recipe and some cinnamon. And as you all know, I rarely ever measure anything because you just really don't need to with regard to adding flavor ingredients and stuff like that. You can just really kind of wing it. So here we go. We're going to just tamp out our bread. And on that, I have some softened butter. I'm just going to get a little bit on my palette here. Spread that around. Doesn't have to be pretty. This is also going to help the loaf to rise because the butter creates steam, and that's going to help to leaven the bread on top of the yeast. Just spread that there. And then I have a mixture of brown sugar and cinnamon. Just going to pour that in the center. Spread that out. This is so incredibly easy. And then roll it up. I'm going to kind of tuck these sides in. Have your seam on the bottom and pop that into a pan. And just like that. So we're going to let that rise along with our other bread, and when it comes out of the oven, it'll be beautiful. And if you want it to be nice and shiny, do your egg wash again, just on the top. And also, we're going to make our slits in here so the bread has somewhere to rise so it won't blow out the side of the pan. So in a few minutes, this will be big enough to go into the oven. We'll bake it at 375 for about the same, 20 minutes, and we'll have a beautiful loaf of cinnamon bread. So I'm back, and these are all the things that we were able to make with our one bread recipe and just a few modifications. So I have my beautiful pizza, my veggie pizza. I cannot wait for dinner time. That's going to be so good. I have our loaf of cinnamon bread. We're going to let that cool down, pop it out, slice it. It's going to be just like a morning cinnamon roll. Here is our peasant rustic style bread. It's delicious. I even had some dough left over, and I decided to make a few little pops. So these are just like little muffins. I simply flattened out the bread, put the cinnamon, sugar, and butter on the inside, mushed it up, put it in a cupcake cup, baked it in the oven. So I think I'm going to have a cup of coffee because it's kind of cold outside and dig into one of these little pops. So I hope that this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please feel free and contact me. All the information for the recipe and the portions should all be in the comment section. So there you have it. Enjoy. That's good.